we're here to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn. It is the new third-person action open-world game from Guerrilla Games, the guys who made Killzone. It is a PS4 exclusive. I actually got to play a little bit of this back at E3 2016, so we still have all of that coverage on the site, but we now actually have new footage, new gameplay trailers, all this different kind of stuff that's going up on the site today. But you went and played the game down in LA recently, so can you tell us a little bit about your hands-on experience, what you got to play just broadly?
Yeah, I got to play about 4.5 hours. I actually got to play the opening section of the game, what I presume is the opening. So you get to see Aloy as a little girl and play as her, and get a lot of story set up and fleshes out a little bit of the story trailers we've gotten. And then we skipped ahead to a later section of the game to get access to better weapons and more hardcore enemies.
That's really interesting to hear that you got to play as Aloy as a child. Like, I didn't know that that's how they were approaching things. So, like, what can you tell us about the story and what you got to see? 'Cause so far, we've only had this one narrative trailer that doesn't really tell us all that much.
Right, yeah, so basically the setup, I would say it's a little cliche. It's a matriarchal society. You don't know who Aloy's mother is, which is, of course, a big problem. There's a goddess, so it's a little bit, I've seen that sort of setup before.
Sounds a little cheesy, yeah.
Yeah, it can be. The dialogue can be a little cheesy, but it does set up kind of her motivations, and that was what was important to me because I really like her as a character, and I got to know a little bit more about her and why she wants to hunt and do the things she's doing. And then one scene really stuck out to me, which was you're kind of down in the metal world. If you don't know, Horizon is sort of this post-apocalyptic world about 1,000 years in the future. So there's like ancient machinery, and she goes into the metal world, and she sees holograms and like memories of the people who were there before, and sees a father wishing his son happy birthday. And we didn't get to capture this, but it stuck out to me so much because she acts so much like a child. She's supposed to be 6, and she's repeating the words back, and she doesn't really have a family. She's this outcast. And so that balanced out the cheesier elements for me. I thought that was a really good moment with her, and I really liked the setup, and I got to know her a little bit better.
Well, it's encouraging that they're taking the time to set up this character, because if you do that at the beginning of the game, then hopefully everything that happens after that will be a little more impactful, because you kind of know this character now.
Exactly.
You're lucky I happened by. One heartbeat more, and that sawtooth would have torn you apart.
Half a heartbeat more and I would have killed it myself. So you're War Chief Sona? Varl asked me to find you.
Has he held the gate?
He has.
So you also got to play some gameplay. You mentioned at the beginning that there was a bunch of stuff you got to play later in the game. So what can you tell us about the combat loop and sort of what you got to play of the game?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the combat loop. It was satisfying. There's a lot of different ways to approach combat. So you're basically hunting these machines. You can harvest them for parts, and there's quests around it. I really liked kind of staying back and being stealthy. There's also really cool stealth kills where you can just basically stab a machine in the neck and it goes down.
Why
and
not?
Just, why not? It looks cool. And it was really satisfying to execute, especially the stealth sections. You have sort of this device that looks like a wearable Bluetoothy device that lets you scan your environment, and you can also track enemies. So you can see, it highlights where an enemy that has sort of a path that it follows.
Sure.
You can see what that path is and either sneak past it or plant trip mines and trip it up and then take it down from there. And so there were a lot of different options, and the skill tree ties into that, and you get to unlock different ways to take down enemies or to be stealthier. And so I really found it satisfying, especially in the context of the open world. I could kind of just track down whatever monster I wanted to.
Just quickly, how deep would you say the skill tree is? I mean, does it really branch? Are there a lot of different playstyles? Like, how deep are we going here?
There's 3 main branches. There's, I think, Prowler, Brave, and it's like Forager or Harvester or something like that. And so those are the 3 gameplay types, and then within that they branch. And so it's pretty decently deep. I mean, not the deepest skill tree I've ever seen, but there were a lot of different options like, stealthy drops, or now you loot more items from the corpses of monsters. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Along its path.
So was there anything in the demo that you didn't enjoy that you think still needs maybe a little bit of work before the game's actually out?
I would say the camera is the wonkiest part of it. You have to remember Guerrilla has a history of first person, and so I kind of took that into account. The transition from first to third can be weird, but if you've ever played a third-person game and you moved the camera and got a face full of tree or a zoom in on a wall,
Yeah, totally.
That's sort of the thing we're talking about. So that
Gotcha.
happened sort of frequently, more frequently than I would have wanted, but not in a way that totally obstructed my exploration of the world or my ability to take down enemies. But I would like to see that cleaned up a little bit.
Gotcha. Overall, though, what was your impression of the game? Just come away feeling positive, pretty much, or feel a little concerned? I mean, how are you feeling about the game in general?
I'm really excited to play more, honestly. I loved the RPG elements. I want to know more about Aloy as a character, and I want to follow her journey through, figuring out what her origin is, and I'm interested to learn more about that. And I really did find the combat really engaging, and I wanted to keep playing.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about this game myself, so I'm hoping that it all comes together. I'm hoping they can fix the camera issues. There's still a little bit of time before release, so stay tuned to GameSpot.com. We're going to continue to cover this one and give you more updates. Be sure to check out our 4K footage of the game, our gameplay highlights, and Callie's written impressions. And yeah, stay tuned to GameSpot.com for all your video game needs.